Guys, obviously, seems like a little bit of longer practice. Did you guys feel like you had a lot to work on, and what exactly do you feel like you were working on this practice to?
Oh, this is just a normal third down day for us. Really just got some new looks, a couple new wrinkles here, so we want to make sure we do a great job of giving the kids the look that they need in order so they can play fast on Saturday.
What do you feel like the biggest lessons you guys need to take to adjust heading to this weekend that you guys learned from a week ago?
Really just operating with a sense of urgency. I think we lacked urgency at times, especially in the first quarter opening the game. So we want to make sure we got our energy right. We're playing on the edge, right? So we can be urgent in everything we do in terms of motion and adjustments, in terms of our communication. Those are all things that's been a point of emphasis this week.
When you take a look at this Fresno team, what stands out about their offense?
I think just traditionally Fresno's always been, a group of hard-nosed football players that have always found a way to create offense. We expect no less. They can do a really good job of getting the ball out of their hands pretty quickly. The quarterback's a good player, right? He knows where he's going with the football. They got some really good skill players as well. So it's going to be a challenge for us to be on our keys and be on fire for our work, right? But we got to really focus on the things that take no talent, right? How hard we play, how physical we play, and knowing our assignment. Those are the things that we're stressing right this week, and we'll let the rest fall where they may.
Fresno had 351 rushing yards just last week. Talk to me about their run game and sort of what you guys are working on to sort of limit their run attack.
I think the first week of the season, right, they didn't run the football as well. So obviously their second game, that was a point of emphasis. So for us, man, that's right up our alley. That's who we want to be, just in terms of being physical in the run game. So we got to have dominant edges, right, to make sure that, hey, the ball doesn't get on the edge and make sure it's fitting tight shoots. So that's what we've been emphasizing this week, to make sure that not only do we knock it back up front, right, we set dominant edges, right, and then we can let the linebackers run.
What did you see from Kai in terms of adjustment to this team in game one and just what you want to see more from?
Did we talk to Kai Wall?
Yeah, Kai Wall.
Man, I think Kai is an awesome addition for us, man. He's a great person. I've enjoyed getting to know him. He's in our breakout leadership group. We're doing unity meetings, and he's a very thoughtful young man, and he really works hard, and he's intentional in his work. I think just the more and more he plays, the more and more he becomes comfortable, he's going to make more plays. I think if you ask him, he left some plays out there on the field. Just looking at my mind, we were in the stunt inside. He ran right by the tackle. That would have been a tackle for loss. The same play that he made, during camp. So it's just really just settling down a little bit more. We'll get a little bit more out of him. But, it's good to have tall, physical guys. We just got to make sure all of those guys, right, stay on top of their assignments, stay on top of their weight, right, because that matters when you're playing on the edges.
You've obviously had a couple days now to watch the film from this past weekend. On the defensive side, what did you like from what you saw in the defense in that game, and how have you kind of taking that into this weekend at the practice?
I thought outside we responded well. I think obviously we had some reps early when the ball went over our head, and all contested catches where we're there. We got to be a little bit more physical at the point of the catch, but to fight back, right, after giving up some plays to get some PBUs. So I like to use it like it's a record. Right, like if we're playing football game, every deep ball is a game, right? So you might go 1-3 or 3-1, right? You might give up one, but you got to bounce back to come back to the other. So each of those guys are talented. Nobody just ran straight by them, right? So we're excited about where they are. We're excited about the opportunity to get an opportunity to make that play again, because it's going to happen again. That's who we are. We call our corners, they're mercenaries here. Right, gunfighters get shot, so you got to have a next play mentality. Flush that play if it was negative. Flush that play if it was positive, right? And we got to move on and respond regardless of the situation. So I was really pleased with the fight, right? That we didn't give up, we didn't lay down, we didn't let one play kill us twice. So we had two guys going there. A 17-year-old played 60-some snaps, and we had another junior college that hadn't played corner since 2020. So for them guys to go out there and log as many snaps as they did, and to be able to battle, right? Some things are going to go positively, right? Some things will go negatively, but I was really proud of the way that they fought.
Yeah, you talked about the way you guys fought back. It seems like you guys made a lot of good in-game adjustments. Talk to me about, as from a defensive unit, just what you guys are looking for in terms of those adjustments heading into this Week 2 game.
I think in first games, man, it's always the unknown, right? The unknown of the energy, the unknown of the moment, the unknown of playing in Reser Stadium with it packed out in terms of fans, right? We're dealing with that unknown. What we want to see this week is we want to see our guys be who they are, right? We want to see Beaver DNA. Right, we want to be an attack front, right? We want to be a pressure-minded guy, and we want to challenge on the back end, right? We don't want anybody to be anybody they're not, right? But what we do want to see, right? We want to see the culture on tape. We want to see us playing physical. We want to see our calling card, which is our effort, showing up each and every time. So, nothing new, nothing different, right? Just doing your job and doing it better.
I haven't asked the co-defensive coordinator. I know when we ask about titles, sometimes you can say it's just, doesn't mean a whole lot. But what does it mean?
I think for us, man, I think there are times, obviously, you got the head football coach calling the defense, so there are going to be times that things are going to grab his attention, right? Then there has to be someone to kind of lead the room at times. Luckily, we got a few guys in there that's been a coordinator along with myself, so I think it's just working hand in hand and just make sure that his vision, right, is being carried out when he's not in the room, and make sure we're all on the same page, whether it's coverage, right, or whether it's the run fit. So I think it's really more of an extension of what coach wants when he's not in the room, and I think we do a pretty good collaborative process with that. But there's been some wrinkles in terms of us as collaborative, the defense that we've added, right, to make us look a little bit different in terms of what we've done in the past. So it's just really just brainstorming, bringing some things that may have been from a system previously, or maybe bringing something that from my personal system that may fit what we do here. But it's more being an extension of coach, right, making sure that we're all speaking the same language, and if he happens to step out with head coaching duties, right, that we got someone to kind of carry on and have the organization there.
You already touched a little bit on Trey and Jaleel, what you saw from them last week. What's the base area of growth that you're looking from them headed into Fresno?
I think the urgency to get a line, right? Fresno gave us, Cal gave us some motion adjustments, and I think for new players, right, seeing it live, right, they kind of slowed. It was playing a little bit slow. So what we'd like to see from them guys is just grow in that area because they're both talented football players. But it's hard to play football when you're not aligned. Right, so the first thing we got to do, we got to get aligned, and then our natural abilities will be able to show up. But again, we're going to keep on developing those guys. We got some other guys that we want to hope to get back soon, right, and other guys that we want to continue to grow, right, so they get a chance to add depth to the room. But I think those guys are going to be fine. We'd like to see them play more physical at the point of contact. I think, it's going to be rare times that they're going to get ran by because they both carry good speed, but we just got to be more physical, right, and make the referees call the game. Right, and not necessarily assume that I can't be over-aggressive. Hey, we want to be as aggressive as we possibly can to let the ref say, hey, calm it down, that's a little bit too much contact.
On the interior, how is Tavita progressing at this point?
We're hopeful, that he can play, obviously, is a big part of what we want to do. But at the same time, right, we want to make sure that when we do get him back, that he's back to stay. So we don't want to rush him back, in terms of getting, not necessarily the results that we want and getting the player that we'd like to have out there. So, he's day-to-day right now, and, we haven't had a staff meeting to kind of see where he is, but, we're a better team when he's out there.
You talked a lot about urgency in this little interview. Talk to me about, how do you preach or how do you teach the urgency and sort of the tempo from a defensive side?
I think it starts with the energy, the edge and the execution, right? I think it starts with the energy. I like to bring a lot of energy. Coach Coop does the same, and we want those guys to model that. So we try to get the energetic, the urgency to communicate in the meeting room. We try to carry over that same urgency, aligning with speed, right? Even in the walkthrough, and hopefully, right, we get that to carry over into our team periods and practice. So it's really we want to operate and let that be our mindset that everything's urgent, everything's sped up. Sometimes that's trial by fire. Sometimes they get a little verbal motivation in order to do that, right? But I think once the kids see, and you see the standard, someone like Skylar who's always getting ahead of the snap, right? We're just trying to get those guys to kind of come up to where he is. And if we do, right, we'll be better as a defense.